This is Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 9.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to another episode of Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode number 9, and today I will be doing a slightly different format for my show. So today's episode will be shorter. I won't have a guest. Instead, I will be dedicating this episode to answering your questions. So I get a lot of questions by email from my blog readers, from my podcast listeners, and from people that I normally speak to on internet marketing forums, Facebook groups, and other places online. So what happens that I often get very similar questions from many different people, and I know that I will not stop getting those questions, but I would like to answer some of these questions because they seem so common, and a lot of beginners or entrepreneurs, as we call them, people who haven't started a business but want to start one, they ask the same questions all over again, and this is exactly what I'll be answering today. So let's move on to the very first question, and this is the most common question. I get this question many times a week, every single week. So this question comes from Heather. The question is, how long does it take to make money online? Well, actually, Heather asked, how long does it take to make money with affiliate marketing? But it's very similar, and as I mentioned, most people simply ask, how long does it take till I start seeing profit from my online business? Now, this question is really hard to answer. I would say it's actually impossible to answer because there's so many variations and there's so many things that could make a difference from one person to another. So I'll give you my personal example of my journey online and how long it took me to make my first money. So I started in 2007 and I started with affiliate marketing. Now, I did not know anything about an online business, about affiliate marketing, about setting up a website, about producing content. I was a total newbie. I was starting completely from scratch. I didn't know anything at all. So what happened to me is that I stumbled upon a few courses and a few different guides taking me through the whole process of setting up a website and starting an affiliate marketing business. And I started learning and applying that knowledge right away. I think this is a big differentiator from people that make it sooner than later. It's people who take massive action and they take it as soon as they can. So I didn't start learning how to set up a website and then try to find ways to make it perfect and try to figure out the best colors to use and, all that jazz. I just started a website right away. So I learned how to set up a simple WordPress blog, and the same day I simply set it up. As I mentioned, it wasn't perfect, it was pretty ugly looking, and my whole point is that I didn't really care about all those details. I just wanted that website set up. So after that, I started learning about producing content, basically writing articles and blog posts and so on. So I started writing those blog posts right away. My blog posts were also pretty horrible. The content was really basic and really bad. And, I still find those articles sometimes online or in some old files on my computer, and they make me laugh. And I can't believe that I was writing that badly. But once again, I was taking action right away. As soon as I understood that I need to put out content out there, I started putting out content. No matter how bad it was and how uncomfortable I was writing that content, I was still doing it. And I knew that with time, I'll get better. I just couldn't stop. I had to move forward because I knew that would produce results probably. I mean, simply reading and learning about stuff will never produce any results. So this is why I always suggest to people to just jump into it and start doing something. And you could always get better or you could always edit your stuff, but that comes later. Right now, you have to start without thinking and trying to make things perfect. Just start doing it. So at the very beginning, I won't lie to you, I wasn't living an internet marketing dream. I was actually working at least 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. A few times I've actually spent 20 hours straight sitting in front of my computer, making those websites, putting out content, learning about affiliate marketing, learning about getting traffic, trying to get that traffic. and I just kept going at it. I wouldn't even sleep. It wasn't because I've heard that I need to take a lot of action in order to succeed. I was just really excited. I've read about all these people that are making money online. So I thought those people aren't smarter or better than me. So I have a fair shot at making money online as well. And that whole idea of earning money from the internet or using internet really got me lit up and really got me excited. So I kept working at it. And my very first sale happened 2 or 3 weeks after I started. So it was really a short time frame. In my opinion, it didn't take long to make the first sale. It was about $30 and I think it was on ClickBank, but I was hooked. Once you see that first sale, you're hooked and you start working more and you start making more money, and it just keeps going on from there. Now, I would like to share another story from a friend of mine who I met through an online marketing forum, and we're still talking online. We're still kind of online buddies, and we share some tips and ideas, and we brainstorm sometimes. He has a completely different story from mine. He started around the same time as I did in 2007, but he did not make a single penny throughout the whole year. So he's been building different websites and writing a whole bunch of different content and trying to get traffic. And it took him a whole year to make the first sale, and he did not give up throughout the whole year, which I find really incredible. I think personally I would have given up after a few months. Although at this point, after that many years of experience, I would suggest people to keep pushing through it, because at some point you'll make it. The thing is, if you keep putting in work and you keep investing your time and you keep learning, there's no way you will fail in the end. Maybe you won't become a millionaire, but results will start coming sooner or later. And that's kind of the whole secret to online success, or success in many different businesses. Just don't give up and keep pushing through it. Yeah, there isn't really an answer to that question. I can't tell you how long it will take you to make your first money online. I made my first sale rather fast, but I did spend incredibly a lot of time, especially at the beginning. As I mentioned, I was spending probably 80 hours a week, if not more, learning and applying that knowledge into my online business, and I think that helped me quite a bit. One thing that I would like to mention, if you stumble upon some kind of a course or training or some guru promising that you'll make your first sale by tomorrow or by next week or by next month, I would suggest to run away from that person, from that course, because it's probably a scam. Once again, there is not a single person who could guarantee your success or your first sale or your first any kind of success online. No one can guarantee that, no one can predict that, and it's totally up to you. So beware of those kind of promises and just keep on working. Now, the second question comes from Francis, and Francis asks, I need to make $5,000 by the next month. How can I do it? I also get different variations of this question. Some people are asking me to how to make $2,000 by next week. Some people are asking me how to make $1,000 by the end of the month. And I find it really interesting because either something happened in their life and they really need to make that money fast. Either there's some kind of investment opportunity or something coming up and they need to make that money fast. And they're asking me how to do that. Now, this is also something that doesn't really exist. Easy and quick money doesn't exist, and even if you stumble upon some opportunity where you could make some easy money, it's not a business and it's not going to last. That's kind of the problem with that. Now, I'm thinking if I was to suggest someone to make money relatively fast, I would suggest freelancing, because when you're building a business, it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of effort. And as I mentioned in my previous answer, sometimes it could take you a year to finally see some kind of profit coming from that business. But when you do freelancing, you're basically paid by the hour or by the project. So it's kind of an instant pay. But here are two problems with freelancing. First of all, you need to have some kind of good skill that you could sell for money. And second of all, you need to build up some kind of reputation in order to sell that skill. If you go to websites like freelancer.com or Elance or Odesk or even Fiverr, and you have no reputation, you have no feedback, you haven't worked with anyone, it would be pretty hard to get your first clients because people don't know you. They don't know how you work. They don't know the quality of your work. They don't know your communication skills. And the truth is that people don't usually trust someone who is just a beginner. So when you're starting your career in freelancing, or if you're starting to offer some kind of services or skills for sale, it's not going to be instant profit, because you'll have to build up some kind of reputation online in order to start making relatively good money with it. So guys, if you're looking to make $5,000 by next month, unfortunately, I can't suggest anything, and I don't think there's anything you could really do to make easy money that fast. If it was possible, we would all be millionaires by now, but it's not. And I think another reason why people ask these kind of questions, because there's a whole bunch of products online, info products from shady marketers who promise to make you rich, who promise shortcuts to success. Just, click the 3 buttons and you'll be making $75,000 by next week. And you could get this system for 3 easy payments of $47. It doesn't exist. Folks, if it did exist, we'd all be rich by now, but it doesn't. The only person that gets rich in the system is the guy who's selling you this so-called system. And while we're talking about systems, personally, I really hate that word, because there's no such a thing as a system. There are marketing strategies that you could put in place to help you make money or to help you build your business, but there are no systems. There are no 3 easy clicks of a button kind of systems that make you riches, or they make you any money at all, really. So it doesn't exist. If you want to make money, you'll have to build a business, you'll have to be consistent. Once again, you'll have to put in the effort, and you'll have to put in your time to build that business and to make that money. There's no easy way to success. Now, this third and final question comes from Elizabeth. And Elizabeth is asking me to share my personal biggest failure from my online marketing journey. And this was a tough question, because it made me think about it for quite a while, because in the world of business, online or offline, everything isn't as smooth as it may seem from the side, or as may seem to other people, because we don't always share our failures. Normally people don't like to share their failures, and they don't go around screaming, "Hey, look at me, I failed. Look how I failed. Here's a step-by-step instruction of how I failed." However, I will be sharing my biggest failure, at least in my opinion. And I'm really glad that I'm answering this question, because this question made me think about my past 7+ years as an online marketer, and made me evaluate a few things, and made it easier for me to remind myself the things that did not work out well for me, and why I shouldn't fall into those patterns again. So my biggest failure in online marketing comes from 2009, I believe. What happened is, by that time, I was making a pretty good money online, at least in my opinion. I was making almost 5 figures every month from affiliate marketing, and I wasn't really working all that much anymore, because I had a lot of content and a lot of websites set up that were simply generating money for me regardless of what I was doing. So at some point, I got really comfortable, and I just stopped working completely. Money was coming in, month out. Time was passing. I was having the time of my life. I wasn't doing any work at all, and money kept on coming in. So you could only imagine that this is a kind of an easy trap to fall into when you don't have to do anything. You lead that internet lifestyle, kind of, or at least that's what people think of when they think of internet lifestyle. You could go to the beach and just relax for a week, do nothing at all, not even touch your computer, and the money keeps coming in, your bills are paid, you don't have to do anything. So I got comfortable with that lifestyle. I stopped doing work completely. I was spending a lot more time on my hobbies, which is not a bad thing, but I should have worked on the business quite a bit more. So I stopped working. The money kept coming in for a while, but eventually that amount started becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. What started happening is that some of my websites lost rankings because they weren't updated. Some other websites simply disappeared from Google because of some Google algorithm changes and whatnot. Some of the products stopped selling simply because those products were more of a trends, and trends die with time. So there was simply no more demand for some of the products that I was promoting as an affiliate online, so money stopped coming in. Slowly but surely, everything started dying out, or almost everything. I still had some money makers, and I still have some of those websites today in 2015, and believe it or not, they're still making money. And they were started in 2007, and those websites are still making money. However, big chunk of my income kind of dried up, and it's not really motivating. And to be honest, it got me a little depressed and pissed off. The thing is, I wasn't pissed off at myself. I was pissed off at the bad economy. I was pissed off at Google. I was blaming all these different factors around my business that were affecting it. But it took me a long while. It took me at least a year or two to finally realize that I was the only one to blame, and I was the one who actually killed off that business. It took me even longer to actually start rebuilding it almost from scratch. The thing is that I had the knowledge at this time. I knew where to get the knowledge as well, and I was a lot more serious and more determined, and I wasn't going to fall into that trap of being comfortable and achieving that some kind of a level of success and trying to stick with it without actually doing anything. So now I am not getting comfortable, no matter what my level is or in which level of income I will be. I am trying to diversify my business as much as possible. I'm doing different projects. I'm always trying to get different sources of income. I'm always trying to get a different source of traffic, and I keep adding new things to my business. So instead of working less, I'm actually working more these days, trying to build up something bigger, something more substantial, and something that will actually make a difference for me and the people around me. This is one of the reasons I started my podcast, and this is one of the reasons I am continuing my blog. I'm connecting with people, I'm helping people out, and hopefully I am helping some people take a step further, take a step in the good direction, and take a step to changing their lives for the better. And it's exciting. It's a completely different business, but it's really exciting. And when you help people, people help you as well. It's kind of obvious. When I first started my business, I didn't have the mentality, and now I see how wrong I was. It's not about you and about your money and how much money you make, but it's about helping people succeed, helping people change their lives, and as a byproduct, it will change your own life. So this is my goal at this point. This is what I'm doing with my life right now. I am helping people change their lives for the better, and I hope I will reach a lot of people with that mission of mine. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions for me, specific questions, please send them to me by email to alex@extrapaycheckblog.com. Once again, alex@extrapaycheckblog.com. Or you could go to my blog and leave your questions as comments on the show notes for this episode, which is extrapodcast.com/9. Or, comment on any of my other resources, or send me an email through my website. I would be really happy to read your questions, and I would be happy to answer them on my podcast or on my blog. I've got a lot of awesome guests coming onto the podcast for the next few weeks. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next Monday.